Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, December 21st. And if we get right to the headlines, certainly we're going to be heading into a milder period over the next 2, maybe 3 weeks. But that doesn't mean we can't get snow. And each storm will have to be looked at individually. But the next storm coming up for Christmas Day looks like it's going to be more in the way of rainfall for much of the Great Lakes. I think there's going to be a significant winter storm out in the Dakotas into Minnesota, where I think there'll be an all-out blizzard, especially in northwest Minnesota into the eastern Dakotas, the way it looks right now. And we'll have to track that storm. For us, looks like mild conditions with some light rain, some fog. And again, we'll hang on to our snow through Christmas for sure. And maybe even beyond that. We'll just have to wait and see how warm it gets. Right now, it looks like we'll get into the upper 30s to the mid 40s for Sunday and Monday. And then we'll cool down just a little bit after that. And for the next 24 to 36 hours, maybe a little bit of snow across the northern portions of the MAC area up into northern Michigan, where a trace to an inch could be found. But again, for most areas around here, not a whole lot. And if we look at the next slide, you can see welcome to winter at 5:44 a.m. We began our track into the winter season, and we've already had quite a bit of winter so far. We're way above normal for the entire month of December on snowfall. So if we look at the normals for the day, our normal high today is 32, the normal low is 18. And if we look at the next slide, you can see conditions around the area. Yesterday were mainly in the upper 20s to around the low 30s. The warm spot being over in Newaygo at 34, with that warmer water produces some of that little bit warmer temperatures as the winds came out of the west. And the overnight low was down to 4 degrees above zero at Blissfield. You can see we're at 2.8 degrees below normal for the month so far. And probably by the end of the month, we'll see that go back into the red, as we expect, again, some mild conditions right down through the end of the month. If we look at the lower 48 highs and lows for yesterday, the warmest temperature 88 degrees at Naples, Florida. The cold spot minus 21 degrees below zero at Presque Isle in Maine. And if we look at the conditions around the area this morning, you can see quite a bit milder than was yesterday. Temperatures mainly in the 20s. And again, we expect pretty mild temperatures here as we'll get up into the 30s here over the next several days, and maybe again into the 40s as we get towards Sunday. Certainly the upper 30s, and I think Monday will be solidly in the 40s as that storm will track off to our west. You can see currently out there this morning the radar indicating some of that snow that'll be creeping in. I think the best chance will be across south central and central Michigan on off to the north. You can see winter weather advisories across the eastern UP and back into the arrowhead of Minnesota. Wouldn't be surprised to see those added here across the western portions of the UP as well. If we look at the low-level wind fields, you can clearly see where that low-pressure system is across just north of North Dakota. And again, that'll move off to the east. That'll bring some of that snow into the northern part of the state. You can see the winds behind us are mainly out of the west, so not a lot of cold air with this next system. And if we look at the weather map this morning, you can see the low-pressure system across northern North Dakota, southern Canada. Again, that'll be moving off to the east. This won't be a big deal. And if we look at the forecast map by Thursday morning, that low-pressure system would be northeast of Lake Huron. Again, maybe a little bit of lake effect and some snow across the northern portions of the lower peninsula into the eastern UP. But again, for us here in the MAC area, it should be a pretty decent day. And it looks like another nice day as we get into Friday with high pressure well in control. And then we're going to watch this system again. That's going to produce a pretty significant storm that's going to move out of the Rockies and then head right towards Minneapolis, St. Paul. And anywhere to the south and east of that, you'll be on the warm side with mild temperatures. And again, an all-out blizzard expected across parts of Minnesota back into the eastern Dakotas. And you can see on Christmas Day, that storm will be heading towards Minneapolis, St. Paul. And again, we'll be on the warm side of that. And the outright blizzard back on the northwest side of the track of that low. As far as precipitation, over the next 7 days, you can see the heaviest will be back here across the northern or the upper Midwest in the northern Great Lakes. Here in mid-Michigan and southern lower Michigan, looks like, again, not a whole lot of precipitation, mainly under a quarter of an inch, maybe up to a half an inch as you get up towards mid-Michigan. And again, this will all be in the form of rain for the most part. Now, we got a system today that could bring a little bit of snow. And again, Friday, as the push of warm air starts to head our way, we could see a little bit of snow there. But overall, not a big deal for much of the area. So it should be some pretty good driving conditions overall compared to what it can be for this time of year. And you can see as we get in to some of the snowfall forecasts right in Monday morning, you can see some very heavy snow back into the northwestern portions of Minnesota, the eastern Dakotas, up into the Arrowhead. Again, they could be seeing well over a foot of snow in some of those areas. And if we look at the Canadian model, you can see it even indicates up in the arrowhead up to 2 feet of snow, but certainly over a foot of snow is very likely on the northwest side of wherever that low tracks. We'll have to keep an eye on the track of that system, but for us here in mid-Michigan, we should be pretty safely into the warm sector, so we don't expect any real adverse conditions from that system. Now, over the next 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks, you're going to see we're going to be warmer than normal, but we're kind of going to be in that battle zone. That's why we could get a significant amount of snow. We're just going to have to watch each individual storm as it pulls out of the west, and then we get the right situation. We can get a lot of snow in this kind of a pattern, but certainly we got a chance of more in the way of rain and sloppy conditions as well. And you can see over the 8 to 14 day outlook, once again, pretty much the same. We're going to be kind of in the battle zone, a little above normal. As far as precipitation, though, and this is why we got to watch that, plenty of precipitation for both the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 day outlook. So we'll keep an eye on each individual storm, but overall a much warmer pattern here over the next 2, maybe even 3 weeks. It's looking more and more like it's going to be around the 10th, maybe the 15th of January before we, I think, switch the pattern back into a big, deep eastern trough and more harsh winter weather. But pretty nice for the next couple of weeks. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.